Hello there and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're back with another painting video for Inferno, the board game published by Grand Gamers Guild as well as Red Mojo from Spain. And it's designed by a guy called Fernando Eduardo Sanchez. And it is taking place in 13th century Florence, in both Florence as well as the 9 Circles of Hell, where you'll be guiding your workers to various tasks, gaining victory points along the way. And as you can see here, this is just the rules book, but the rules book and the main cover for the game looks exactly the same, so it's a lot easier to show you what it looks like. So going down like this is the title of the game, and that's what you see, sticks and the boat and all that. Yeah, I'm not very very good at all the mythology stuff and all that. So I'm going to put this one aside for a moment, and today I'm going to show you how to paint the Medusa, one of the most legendary figures in Greek mythology, and hopefully you will see this one without too much glare. And I'm going to take great inspiration from the card art here as much as possible, painting both her snakes as well as her body as well. So this is where I put her. This is a very beautiful figure. This is coming from the miniature box set, a set of 6 miniatures that you can buy separately from the main board game. And keep in mind, I'm not sponsored by them in any way. I simply bought these at Spiel last year. And you can buy these ones at Spiel at Grand Gamers Guild as well as at Red Mojo in their booths, so please check them out if you're interested in them. So, well, without further ado, let's get into this, the painting, so to say. I'm going to make sure that her kind of like white robe is going to be getting a little bit more color. So I'm going to use a color called a contrast color called Apothecary White to make sure from Citadel. Making sure that it's a little bit not just pure white, it is quite grey in terms of the card art, which I'm going to put here to the side over there, so make sure I can see it. And I'm applying it neat, and I really wanted it to enter all these crevices, nooks and crannies here to make sure it doesn't pool on the surface. And this painting handle here is also from Red Grass Games. I couldn't recommend it more, and should actually be using it a lot more than I have been in the past as well. I'm taking great care not to hit the snakes here, and also her, I believe it's her feet down below. Don't forget the side here. And upper body, make sure you don't touch kind of like skin underneath here, but there is a kind of cloth here as well that you should be covering with it. I haven't played the board game. I hope that I will do so at Spiel this year. I'm going in about 3 weeks, and when you're done with this one, making sure that you have everything covered, then you can go over and actually touch over the statue over here as per the card art. And the statue here is going to be a little bit tricky. You want to get the upper part where you see there's no clothes. He has like an arm here that is completely deformed. To put his face here as well, because his head here, you can put the headgear in something else if you want to. I just want it to be a little bit more of the focal point as well. And then we get to place to paint his armor with another color as well. So here I'm painting it in different parts and making sure that the foot here is also part of the stone, as well as his leg over here. And the reason I'm painting this one first, so it will have time to dry. You don't want it to pool in the surface, as I said before, so you want to move it around according to your preferences and at your discretion. something like this would be quite okay. Now, before we move into the snakes, which is going to be a lot of work as well, I want to paint her skin, and for that I'm using another contrast colour called Dark Oath Flesh from Citadel. Painting it in Cadian flesh tone would be perfectly fine if you choose to do so for a more traditional approach. And I'm also painting her arms with this one. Taking great care not to hit the snake here on the way. And there's another arm here. I'm not really sure where the arm kind of like finishes, or also here attached the snake as well. It can't be helped in some aspect, and also the foot here as well. Make sure you can see this one as well. And there we have it. Looking quite okay, if I may say so. Still quite dark, quite gritty. But let's turn our attention to the snakes. There's going to be a lot of work here. Letting the other ones here to dry as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to give it a cover of Caliban green, and then we are going to switch to wet blend them with some either Lauren Forest, or if you don't have them, like I found out that my Lauren Forest was actually all out. It looks like this, Lauren Forest, but they were all out, so I had to switch to an equivalent, and that's Vallejo's Luftwaffe Camo Green. And I mixed them with a little bit of Lamin medium to make sure that they're a little bit more fluent. So, and you can also do the same thing with water if you like. So, which means I will do so as well, just to make sure that it's a little bit easier to blend and to put the colors on. So here we're starting with the snake, and not sure how this is going to go. The upper part here will be with this color, and moving on to the other side here as well. Painting some of the snakes in this fashion, with some of the snakes will be in one color, and then some of the snakes is kind of like a huge amount of snakes here on top of her head. So you're not really sure where the snake ends or where it begins. It's hard to tell from the miniature. They did a good job painting, like creating these miniatures, but in terms of Medusas, they have it's hard to figure out where the snake finishes to where it ends. So I'm painting it like this, a little bit of a kind of like a randomized fashion, and I'm painting over mistakes made, for example, with the skin color being made on the snakes. As such, also going down on her arms here. Here is a little bit easier. I'm turning, and also on the other side of the arm here. The one like kind of like wrapped around the statue of the poor soul here. And there are some snakes around here as well, at the bottom. And before this one has an entire time to dry, we are going to move on to the next stage with the snakes, and that is some Luftwaffe Camo Green. And we're going to put it on here. It's a little bit too much of a large brush here, so I'm going to switch to a smaller one, and a size 0 brush will be useful. Painting the underside of the snake where the snake is still white from the primer. And then, as you see it, you will blend it together, creating a nice gradient between the snake's different scales. Takes a little bit of time to do this one, but if you spend some time on this miniature, and on the snakes in particular, you will see that it really makes a difference. So Medusa is one of the guardians in Inferno, the board game. They are with plastic standees in the main set. But you can buy a figure box set such as these as a way to enhance your game. Here I'm not touching some of the snakes here because they have kind of like their jaws wide open, and I want to make sure that they get their teeth as well. And if it's too much with one color, don't hesitate to switch back to Caliban Green to give it some more colors. Here I'm putting on the Caliban Green again on this side, as well as down over here, so we can wet blend it further. As such. And here I'm wet blending it here, as well as underneath here as well. It's a tricky miniature to paint, I have to admit that. Almost done with the snake parts here. So for the top, you can, when it comes to the top, go very easy and just cover everything in Caliban Green, and then just dab some dots of Flora Forest or Luftwaffe Camo Green at your discretion. Most important is not just to leave anything but parts that are white here. Now with this one done here, almost done, I'm going to go over and dab some colour gradient into it. Hopefully you'll like this one. Now, there are some snakes in the bottom as well. We're going to cover them too, and we're going to make it easier. Start with Caliban Green. I'm painting the top parts, Caliban Green. And the underparts is going to be Lauren Forest or Luftwaffe Camo Green. Here it's a little bit easier. And now it's time for the Lauren Forest. It doesn't look that great, I have to admit. Not the best of my creations. Leave it aside for a moment and let's turn our attention to the details of the other figures. There's some snakes here I missed. I'll go over that right now as well. And another snake here. Lots of snakes. As I also saw that I missed a little bit of her skin, which I will cover now as well. The back of her foot. Should be this one. Bit too much, so I'll have to move it along, taking a damp brush and soaking it up. And there's another snake here that I will touch up in a bit. First, I want to make sure that I get the next one, and it's going to paint some leather scales on his kind of like his armor, if I can find the snake bite leather. If I cannot, I'll find another replacement. So there we go, some snake bite leather. Contrast paint. And the reason I'm painting this one here, not just pure as a statue, is that I want him to look a little bit more, have a different color to offset just the dark grey and the green. And I can also do that with her belt here as well. I'm putting very little paint on my brush for this. And there's a little bit of armor here as well. And the strap of her is as well as his belt as well. You can do that. And I can also see that I missed a little bit of her hand there. Now I know where it is. So we're going to go over and touch over her hand as well with some dark earth flesh. Her hands resting on his shoulder, or what remained of it. As such, it's looking quite okay. I'm going to go over and touch over some of the snakes here that I see that I missed out on. More importantly, this part of the snake. When I first thought I would paint this one, I thought this would be fairly easy with the snakes, but it turned out to be quite difficult. Here you can go over and touch over the snakes again if you want to, with one color or another, if you feel it's too dark or too light. And just to give it a little bit more of a contrast, I'm going to give the snake's mouth with some Screamer Pink from Citadel, and one of the things that I wanted. So inside here, as well as inside on one of the others. Just to make sure that it looks a little bit different. Once it's dried, you can paint kind of things like fangs or eyes on the snake if you want to as well. But we're now turning our attention to the floor. And the floor is going to be in Nuln oil, pure Nuln oil, for kind of the floor, Nuln oil from Citadel. Painting it neat. Taking care not to hit the snakes. You just want the floorboards. And you want it to really pull in the crevices as well. Now we're going to turn our attention a little bit to the dress. And for the dress we are going to use a dry brush of some Celestra Grey. from Citadel. Dry brush is a great technique to use. If you haven't used it before, I highly recommend it. I'm using a specialized dry brush for this one, but you can use any old brush with its bristles in all directions, such as this one from Vallejo in this case. And you soak up most of the paint on the brush and you wipe it off on a piece of kitchen paper or kitchen towel when you're done with it. As such here, until you get, you can do a heavy dry brush or you can do a light dry brush, and in this case I'm using this one to blend it together. Oops, got a little bit of green there, which is unfortunate, which means that it is what it is. And on the back as well. And you blend it together as such. Here I want to do it on his face and body if possible. And it actually turned out quite nice with the green gradient here because it kind of reflects off the snakes. Now for some details, we are going to paint the belt buckle in some gold. And for this one we are using Liberator Gold from Citadel. And for him, we're going to use some lead belcher for his armor rivets, a few dots. It's not absolutely necessary to do this, but it adds a nice touch to the miniature. If you feel your snakes are mostly dried, you can as well, if you want to, add some, touch them up with some green if you want to, if you feel that they're nice, like if there are white spots where there shouldn't be any. Making sure that it's like all green mess up here. The other thing we can do as well is paint fangs. You can also cover the snakes in Athonian camoshade if you want to shade them and then paint them over again with some more details such as scales. I'm not going to do it here in this aspect, but I am going to show you how to paint her skin and give it a little bit more of a highlight. I'm also leaving some white dots left on the skin of the snakes as per the card art. There are also some yellow dots that you can add as well at your discretion. I'm going to use some Kisler flesh for her skin to make sure that there are no mistakes, and to blend in if there are any mistakes made as like per the green from the snakes. As per here, there's some green as well as over here. And not painting in eye details also as well. Her feet, don't forget those. you go. Medusa from Inferno, the board game, published by both Red Mojo as well as Grand Gamers Guild. Check them out at Essence Spiel. And thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much to all of you who have done so. And I'll see you next time in the next video. Thanks for watching.